The eco-warriors in Britain are organising our Noah's Ark campaign, which is a massive worldwide publicity campaign to stop global warming and save the human race from being driven to extinction this century as a result of the burning of fossil fuels. We are the friends of the Pacific warriors who are fighting to save their island nations in the South Pacific from vanishing beneath the rising sea levels as global warming floods their world. The eco-warriors' modern-day version of Noah's Ark will be the travelling school for eco-warriors, publishing and broadcasting the truth about the danger of global warming, which threatens to wipe out all life on Earth, including the human race. The burning of fossil fuels is causing climate change, and the Earth's temperatures are increasing, melting the polar ice caps and raising the sea levels, threatening worldwide flooding, which will kill billions of people, according to United Nations scientists. The melting methane hydrate gas in the polar regions threatens an ecological cataclysm that will make the Earth completely uninhabitable within 20 years, and humanity is facing extinction. The eco-warriors are attempting to change the future and ensure the survival of future generations by offering our solutions to the global environmental crisis. The only possible answer to stop global warming will be for the whole world to stop the burning of fossil fuels and to close down the fossil fuel industries, which are causing global warming and climate change. To help stop the imminent genocide of humanity that is being caused by the capitalist Bilderberg group of banks, corporations and governments that are destroying the planet and wiping out all life on Earth, the eco-warriors in Britain are offering the people of the world our reality TV show for the children, which is entitled, Can You Save the Human Race?
Oh, okay. I thought the lady at the door spoke to the control.
Going through apparently.
You did, but I'm double checking it.
Oh, okay.
I might go and wait out.
Okay. Well, shall I leave these guys here and I'll start filming? And whatever they decide right now, I'll start doing some shots.
Excuse me? It's purely the mob.
Yeah.
Because they've had a few other things before.
Alright, so you're not television or something like that? Okay, thank you.
It's happening in every country in the world, just getting people to yeah. A million times a day, that's just starting, but you can't see why. So every time you go on this.
Would you care to make a quick comment on Bilderberg and
Hello.
why you're here?
Hello, Minion, yes.
Sorry?
Hello, Minion.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Minion.
Well, don't worry, it's not going to be very good anyway. I don't think you're going to want to come. No, are you a politician or?
No.
Okay, yeah, sorry. It's no invite for you, unfortunately.
Oh.
It's quite selective.
Okay.
Yeah, we only want the cream of the crop there. Not even Ed Miliband's invited, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but it won't be very good. It's mostly a man rave, Ken Clark, the Google boys, Goldman Sachs lot. Yeah, so it won't be very good. Sausage fest.
They are leaving now. The Bilderberg.
They might be. They might not be.
Okay, thank you.
What have we got, fella?
Are you talking? Is that all right? You talking to the camera?
Yeah.
You're making a TV show for BBC Three.
Called The Revolution Will Be Televised.
Right, and what's it about?
It's can I just speak? I'll tell you off the camera, and you can.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know why he called me a minion and refused to give me a leaflet. I was being polite. I was filming him.
I can give you a leaflet.
Sure, okay, thank you, but I'm just making the point that we're here being peaceful, having a little protest. He's come along. He's been rude to me. He's been rude to other people. He's acting like he's some kind of superstar. I don't like that, and I don't think a lot of my friends here like that either.
No, but if I kind of explain to you what the show's about, I think you kind of be in favour of.
Okay, do you want to talk to the camera, or is this private?
Or I prefer it if I could speak to you without the camera in my face, to be honest.
Okay, I'll switch it off. But I've told you what I think.
Yeah, that would be disclosing corruption and then being corrupt yourself.
I did that at a festival where I ran a tiny little thing, a collective festival, and we had an art competition which I won, which was very. It looked so such a stitch-up job. Oh, sorry. You sticking it?
I hate to interrupt. I'd just like to tell you, Charlie, that BBC Three, you're going to be one of the performers in a show called The Revolution Will Be Televised. I'm signing you up for it at the moment. Just so you know, after you've done this gig, you'll be on a show for BBC Three.
Are these guys here?
Well, I'm signing you up now over here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that guy there talking to Danny. Daniel is the voice of youth.
Which are these two guys there?
Yeah,
okay.
that guy writing the stuff is getting the signatures. So I've signed you up for the show. It's being filmed here now. Sorry about that, chaps, but we all got. Who are you?
My name's Steve. We're filmmakers.
Okay, fine, excellent. Thank you. Well, this man's the superstar of this whole show. Thank you.
No, what it is we're just what we're doing. We're just making a show for basically it was
going on the air on the BBC.
Our presenter's just speaking to a few people, so if he speaks to you, then maybe we'll
let him do it.
It's the 9th up to 6. So if my presenter speaks to you, then maybe we'll get you if you're happy with that. Cheers, man. That's perfect.
I never had an excessive drink problem. Baphomet, go home. You're not wanted here.
I had a drink problem.
This is a freedom of speech FEMA camp and not a recording studio.
Really? Yeah. Oh, serious.
Sorry, who?
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, it's a bit. Excuse me. It's a BBC show. BBC Three is a show that they're making called The Revolution Will Be Televised. I'm doing the official video for the Bilderberg Fringe Festival. Whoever has asked you to tell them to leave does not
members of the crowd.
Does not have the authority.
Some of the members of the crowd
Doesn't have the authority.
trying to wind people up.
No.
So they're saying you're not in tune with what's been going on this weekend.
Right.
So
the crowd, no, they do not have the authority. If you like, come back to the press tent. No, you do. The members of the crowd do not. If you come back to the press tent, we'll sort this out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll sort this out.
You've only got 20 minutes and then everyone.
It is an authorised performance by the BBC. It's authorised.
Whether it's by the BBC.
No, I'm sorry, but whoever told you he has to leave does not have the authority.
Okay.
All right.
So
Phoenix, stick with me. They do not have the authority to kick the BBC off the site. No. Oi!
We don't want your Illuminati symbolism around here. Thank you. Bye. Please leave at your earliest.
Been here protesting. Protect him. Phoenix. Protect him. No.
Please take your Illuminati symbolism with you. We don't want to work
stick with me.
like you do. If we say brand names, they can't use the footage.
I'm sorry about that.
Everybody say after me.
Where's your man?
I think you'd be better off leaving.
No, these people do not have the authority to kick him out. He's welcome in the press tent. He will have sanctuary in the press tent.
doesn't work for you anymore.
Making the most of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I'm worried that there's going to be disruption. And it's going to your behaviour is your presence, not your behaviour, is causing a disturbance. So let's go over there and talk about it. At the moment,
Sure.
I don't want it to continue to discuss.
In the press tent.
Go to the press tent, please.
Sure.
You're safe with me. I've got a load of friends here, don't worry.
Okay.
The BBC
Yeah, you call me
have
a
arrived
man.
under
I'm in
common
charge
purpose,
here.
we believe.
These
They
fucking
have been
bastards.
trained
They're not
by
running
common
this show, I am.
All those trained under common purpose, please leave the Freedom of Speech FEMA camp. They're leaving, everyone.
How dare you! How dare you!
But we don't trust you.
Who do you think you are, telling us what to do? That's what we're here for freedom of speech, for freedom of choice. You have no right to treat anybody like this.
Go film your rubbish comedy elsewhere. We only do classy comedy around here. What we're doing right now is cutting edge. More people will probably watch what we're doing than what you're doing. I just wanted to let you know.
Protesters this way, please. All the protesters this way. You'll be sacrificed at the door if you could just follow me, thanks.
No, go into the press tent.
yourself already.
Sacrificed yourself already. Take a picture of you for Henry. Okay.
You'll be safe in the press tent.
You're guiding us when you film.
Please take your MI5 symbolism elsewhere.
Sorry, mate, I'm doing my best.
Security zone number 1, which is in the Grove Hotel.
Why don't you shut up? How dare you?
This way, protesters scum this way. You'll be sacrificed at the top.
Thank you, dude. Go get a refresher course from Common Purpose. I think you've forgotten your training. You could be one of the next future leaders. Keep working.
Yep, here we go.
Paedophile corporation. Paedophile corporation.
Bye.
Is this what they say in your outfit?
Just look at the statue above the door.
No, I'm independent. I'm in.
Remember, home is where the heart is.
We're following a goat.
You don't have a heart.
This is what they want.
Bye.
There's demonising a demon doesn't bring positivity. Look, all of this is working for them. Following the goat.
Well done, Team Awesome.
I need to get that on video.
I've got it on video.
Yeah. Demonising a demon doesn't work, yeah? All these people just followed the goat head with negativity. He came in here with the goat head with positivity. That's the only way we can overcome the things that are part of our reality. If we bring negativity to a negative symbol, yeah, it's just going to work for it.
Okay, well I need to protect them. Stay with me, stay with me.
Yeah.
If they try and attack me, get ready for a fight. I mean it.
We're a quality crowd, man.
They don't scare me. It doesn't matter if there's 100, 200 of them. You guys don't scare me.
Nah, that's right, mate. There's no such thing as fear.
I'm not scared of the police. I'm not scared of you guys. Where were you when we were fighting the riot police? Where were you middle-class twats? Where were you when I was up against the wall being attacked by the riot police? What kind of people are you to chase innocent people off the site? What right did you have to do that?
Why not tell them what you think?
Sorry?
Why not just tell them what you
Oh,
think?
I don't want to do that. They probably attack me. I'm not scared of you people. You're fascists. You're as bad as the Bilderberg group.
Rubbish.
Shut up. Denny.
Saying that you're acting on behalf of Bilderberg, because it sounds like you're acting in some sort of. Do you not understand? I'm trying to explain that I and lots of other volunteers here are trying to fill the gap between Bilderberg and the press and public. That normally a press liaison person or stroke team would do, and it's do you know what it's a fault of the organisation itself that so far they've not managed to do that. It's a step forward that the organisation has hired a corporate communications company. I think we can all agree on that. It's better that they have that than not. It's better that they put an email address, contact email address on their website than not. All these things are steps in the right direction.
And who is that main spokesman from the German communications company?
I can't remember his name, but it's if you look up that. I think the media contact email address goes to someone at that company.
Is it true that you used to be involved in the production of pornographic films?
That's not much of a scoop. I published a book on it.
So,
anyway, yes.
Is that true then? What's the name of the book?
Oh, is this a plug? Do I get a free plug for my book?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you can get
the name of the book, Charlie?
The book is called Once More with Feeling. I think you can get it at Amazon.
Who was it published by?
Who's it published by? I was going to say Random House. No, I can't remember.
Where do you stand on child pornography?
Not a fan. Good question.
Can I just, getting back to the funding, which I believe Patrick brought up, you say that there's been no funding put into it, but yet there were flyers done, there's been a boat, which I believe Alex Jones is part funded in, there's obviously the
funding
tent.
is the wrong way. He went on the barge and then stuck a bit of money in the pot for the payment of it. That's not, I wouldn't call it funding.
No, okay, well thank you for clarifying, but what about the tent and the flyers and so forth?
Those people sticking their hands in their pockets.
Right, so was that personal money on your account?
I spent money on it, so for a lot of people here.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to clarify...
I mean, assuming you've spent money, you come here,
sure,
you've
sure,
spent, I mean, look at this doesn't come cheap, this is a nice bit of kit.
Sure. So, just to clarify...
Yeah? You seem to be desperate to clarify this point.
I am, because you still haven't really addressed that point that you're saying you're acting on behalf of Bilderberg, but you're supposed to be here protesting.
It does seem interested that you seem more interested in that one phrase than in the conference.
It's
yeah, because I want to know what your motives are.
On that. You just spun it around and veered off and repeated
okay,
the
look,
same
I'm sorry.
thing.
Now you've been quite aggressive, but thank you. Like,
Charlie.
I've answered as best I can. Anyone watching can be the judge of that, obviously. But
now that I've made it clear,
thank you very much.
You're not answering the question. You're going to scoot off.
This is not scooting. I've been talking to you for 15 minutes or whatever.
You haven't listened to a word you've said.
Okay, I'm sorry. If that's your perception, I'm sorry. I really am.
What do you think's going on here?
It's on camera. People can make their own mind.
Who knows? Good question.
It's disappointing, Charlie.
What? Oh, well, yeah, we're all disappointed.
Okay, well, thanks very much, gentlemen. Charlie lent me his camera to use it. They've been very kind to me. I've given them some support for this. I agree that there are disagreements and opinions, different opinions and so on, but at the end of the day...
Why are you hiding your face?
This is who I am. I've been on
You're
world...
filming us. We're not hiding our face.
No, but Marcos said...
Who's Marcos?
Zapatistas. He said that if you don't wear a mask, nobody notices you. So I'm just saying to you, in spite of disagreements,
you have your own mind.
Sorry, what is the philosophy? If I don't wear a mask, no one will notice me.
Look, okay, it's a joke. I'm being a bit satirical.
What is your involvement with the tent? You say you've been working with.
I've given a little bit of help.
You're very upset the BBC was being thrown out. I noticed.
I was upset on the grounds of freedom and the rights of the individual.
You're wearing an Evening Standard cap. Are you from the Evening Standard?
No, that's
what's the BBC? Our TV licence pays their wages, so we can...
Yeah, okay, but these are issues that are different and separate from the issues of fighting against Bilderberg. Anyone that comes here to fight Bilderberg, as far as I'm concerned, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Like a Mexican standoff. So
why are you covering your face if we're all friends?
I've been doing this. I've been doing this all weekend.
What's your name?
I'm Nick Martian.
Standard.
That's for me to get on the site. That's a cover. That's a cover. You know, it's all very well. Yeah, okay, so you're now accusing me now. Every little detail, my cap is wrong, my mask is wrong. I've been fighting this.
Provocateur.
I've been fighting this government and the Bilderberg group for the last 30 years. I've been on all the road protests for 30 years. I've been in physical fights. I'm a legal observer.
The BBC then,
Sorry?
Why are you defending the BBC?
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying they have as much right as anybody else to move freely in a free country. I'm British. I don't know where you bastards are from, I'm British. I had hundreds of people shouting, accusing me earlier, just because I was filming it. Shouting accusations at me. And I told them, you attack me, I'll fight back, I'll defend myself.
This is old school, this ain't the 60s.
Fuck off. Fuck off, fuck off.
You're too easy. Everyone calm down, right? Okay, he's obviously getting us here.
We can't put our films on the BBC.
As you can see, this gentleman is obviously getting very frustrated.
You're just a bunch of cunts as far as I'm concerned. You're not with us. Who the fuck are you with?
Woolwich. To be honest with you, if you act like this, then definitely I'm not.
Fuck off!
Oh,
You're aggressive, you're rude, you're ignorant!
You're the one that's ignorant.
All right, well, I'll back away before. Come on,
You got other
Hunter. Okay, you keep.
This works actor in the world. Works in North Korea and the city.
Yeah, never mind. Okay, listen, just a little word. These bastards are chasing us around now. You might know them. Oh, fuck off. I'm not your enemy.
What's your take on that? The goat head being chased out by an angry mob.
See it.
Yeah, it was seriously negative. Yeah?
Right.
Because, like,
I didn't see
it. You didn't see it?
No, I don't.
There was a guy with a goat's head, yeah? And he was coming in and sort of taking the piss out of Satanism and talking about babies getting bombed and all sorts of really, really disgusting stuff. Yeah, and then there's sort of people started shouting at him with microphones. And I think there was a couple of agents promoting it as well because the people, they didn't seem genuine, they had their agenda. And I think that if we want to get things like Satanism out of society and out of this reality that we're occupying, then we can't chase it out with hate because we're all one love. We're all one living organism.
Look, I didn't see it, so I don't know, but it sounds bad.
Yeah.
Charlie, it's all on this tape.
Oh, good.
You got it all here. Yeah, all the arguments, everything. It finishes up with that. Bye, darling. Okay, and.
I was very enthusiastic there. Is that you? Yeah! Good. Well, what happened today, sir? I'm talking to him at the moment. Oh, that's right, that's just a comedy thing. You can interrupt, I'm only joking. So, what have you done today that's made you so happy?
Me and my missus are celebrating, like 2 years ago we had a little baby and we're having a little day off.
That's definitely a reason to be happy. Is that your little kid that's been running around?
Yeah. Her birthday.
It's her birthday, yeah. You should
That's
be
not allowed.
No? When was the last time you ran around on your birthday, sir?
No, it's my birthday today.
Oh, well, you should run! We can help you if you've got no legs. So, at this table, what have you been there today, you lot? How are you?
Tired.
Tired? What have you been doing? Tired and happy, that's good. It's like you just come out of a divorce.
No, they're German. He's going to
Yeah, no, but we was going to get there in a second. You just got my punchline.
They're German. He's going from Munchen.
That's right. So how it generally works is that everybody listens. And then we build up a repertoire with you and we have a little bit of fun and then the comedians are going to come on and they're going to do their material and everyone's going to listen to them and there's going to be quite a lot of political comedy tonight. Are we up for that? Yeah. Oh, of course we are. Also, because it's difficult for comedians to find the right audience to say stuff to, that you literally like something that you believe in your heart. You go on Facebook, for example. You go on Facebook, you put a post about Monsanto and all the evils that Monsanto are like doing around the world, controlling seeds and being generally kind of evil and nasty, and you get 2 likes. And one of them's from Don Biswas and the other one's from Mel Crosby. And then you put a picture of a cat jumping over another cat. There's 75 million likes, 400,000 shares, and 6 grand forward to you from Monsanto for not making any more jokes about Monsanto. So, and I was at a gig the other night. I went to a charity gig for. I was just telling them that over for Marie Curie, and I thought, oh, there'll be some like-minded people here. There'll be some people who kind of like don't believe in the existing kind of peddled paradigm, I came on and I went, I've just been on a Monsanto thing. I was like, who hates Monsanto? It's a massive place, and like 2 people went, went, okay, let's move on. So I started talking about something completely, and that's what you're up against in life, we're trapped, aren't we, like a little bit. I mean, I find I've got lots of friends, they are friends, genuine people, but they don't want to engage in conversation.
Indeed.
They don't want to talk about it. They want to sweep it under the carpet, and it pains you in the back of your head. It's like a punch bag. Continuously debating, you're trying to bring it up in conversation. So, did you like the dinner? Yeah, you like the dinner? Yes, yeah. Peace. Spread some love. Spill beers, share love. And I watched, I don't have a television in my house, I don't have a television, because it kind of like, I feel it kind of like brings in an element of shit into your life on a daily basis that you can probably do best without. Plutonium-headed drones just going into that front row and just destroying it and giving us a bit of a, that would be reality television, that would kind of shit that I'd like to see. You know what I mean? So, does anyone like to say anything? Who's extremely happy?
What? Me.
I like that. Why are you extremely happy today, sir?
Because I'm alive in a
Look at that, you see? Alive in a wonderful time. I like that.
I'm happy.
Tell me why you're happy, sir.
Because I arrived here and finally got here today. I've been...
If you're smoking.
No, sadly not.
Don't worry, we can sort that out in a minute, Raj. We can sort it out. Right, tell me why you're feeling happy. Come on, spit it out.
I met Hannah. I met Jeremy. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Nicholas.
And Nicholas.
And Nicholas. Yeah.
And I'm so happy actually to see Ben also, because another reason why I'm so happy today, and then finding out who this man is, because I read about him on the internet just the other week, and I'm worried and fantastic.
That's marvellous.
What a joy.
I like that. That's making, in turn, making me exceptionally happy. Come on then, sir, what is it? Tell us why you're happy.
I'm happy because yesterday I believe that I was part and sharing in a historical moment for us all on this planet. I believe.
We can all give that a big round of applause.
Can I ask for something special? Because me and my friend got here 2 hours ago, missed everything.
Oh.
And a few people have missed everything. So I just wondered, is there something you can give us that's a bit special for the people who missed everything?
I think I'm going to leave that to the comedians because they've got a lot of material lined up, and we don't want to like keep you here till midnight and with me ranting. So they've got a lot of stuff that's going to be kind of relative to what you want to hear, and then maybe is it Hannah? Hannah might come up and do a little bit as well. She'll fill in that blank for you and make it all kind of become apparent. Is that good?
That's good.
Let's give a round of applause to Hannah as well for being Hannah. And in fact, keep that round of applause going, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to bring on the first act of the evening. He's a very good friend of mine. Put your hands together. Please welcome to the stage my good friend, Mr. Don Biswas.
How you doing, guys? Are you well?
Yeah!
Good to hear. Go around and applause for Tony, please.
Yeah!
Do you want to just see who you got in the audience? I know Tony spoke to you. Give us a cheer if you're again for the movement and everything, anti-Bilderberg.
Hooray!
Now give us a cheer if you're controlled opposition.
Yeah!
Oh, he found one answer the question. Get out! What's your name, sir? And do you work for Monsanto?
No, not for them.
What's your name anyway? You came from Germany, sir, yes? And what's your name?
Dominic.
Dominic. Welcome. We're ready for Dominic. Give us a cheer if you're from Britain.
Yay!
Give us a cheer from overseas.
Yay!
Right.
Well, it depends what overseas is. Is that across the channel?
Across the channel, basically, yeah.
Across the canal.
Because Dominic's here, and the Germans, I'm going to start off and talk about Hitler. That little Nazi there.
No worries.
Here we go. Do you think if Hitler was alive today, that he could challenge Churchill to cheaper car insurance? We'll start with a gag there. I'm going to explain myself properly. Before I go into politics, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself because it interlinks with the politics. My name's Don Biswas, and I'll tell you two things about me. Number one, I've got a condition called dyspraxia. Give us a cheer if you heard of it.
Yay!
Most of you. If you don't know what it is, it's a learning difficulty, which mate. If you want to meet people in secret, why not come to my next London open mic night? Like everything in politics is about spreading fear to keep us in our place. Best example, the far right-wing racist party, British National Party, spread a lot of fear about Islam. What religion are they going to have a go next? My religion, Hinduism. Just imagine the propaganda on that. Oi, these Hindus, with their reincarnation, meaning they stay in this country more than one lifetime? The worrying thing is, a member of the BNP party came up to me the other day, took one look at me and said, "Oi mate, go back to where you came from." And because I was dyspraxic, unfortunately, I had to ask you for directions first. This was scandal highlighting that a lot of people in the BBC and the mainstream media knew what was going on, but they chose to do nothing about it because they were interested in their own careers. This is something I like to call the bystander effect, where we stand there and do nothing while others suffer in the hands of evil. The bystander effect can be explained by this quote. First they came for the Jews, I did nothing. Then they came for the communists, I still did nothing. Then they came for the trade unionists. I still did nothing. But then I realised this. They're never going to come for me. Because gigging on the London Open Mic Circuit for 6 years, they don't know who the fuck I am. It's just how sad my life is. I used to do various jobs before. I used to work in cash converters. Give us a cheer if you heard of them.
Hey.
If you don't know, cash converters is basically eBay for poor people. Basically, where some people are so poor, they have to sell their goods and services to raise money, and in return, cash converters sell them on for a profit. I didn't like this job. Luckily now, I work as a comedian, and it's amazing to think after a couple of years in comedy, I got a little bit of recognition. I got reviewed as one to watch for the future. Unfortunately, that review came from the Criminal Records Bureau. Look what they're doing to Greece and Ireland and countries like that. They're getting us into debt. They're enslaving the population. But overall, I don't mind if there was an actual capitalist society where there's genuine competition for like nights for like this to thrive. But my friends, we don't live in a capitalist society. We live in a society of big corporations who control and dominate everything. Don't you forget that. There's only a few companies who control most of the media in America, a few banks who control most of the finance industry in the UK. And do you know what they do? They decide things beforehand. They decide to fix the LIBOR interest rate. They decide to fix the price of their products. They attend secretive meetings like the Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission with fellow press, politicians and corporations who all rely on each other to stay powerful. And that's why the only news stories you ever hear is how poor people and immigrants are to blame for everything. Yeah. And some of you taking a look at me and thinking, Don, that's a bit hypocritical of you, saying all that. Because being the only dyspraxic comedian in the circuit, surely that makes you a monopoly. Not true. There are actually several other dyspraxic comedians on the circuit, currently trying to find this gig. Yeah, my set is all over the place because I'm extremely passionate about this, and I'm glad I'm here tonight. And one piece of advice I'd like to part with is never be afraid to speak out. Don't ever be afraid to speak out. I don't care about speaking. I don't care if it loses me bookings as a comedian, because I think the biggest fear we have in society is what other people think of us. Yeah. And that's why most of us go back to the small world we live in, where no one can judge us. Yeah. But I had no choice but to be judged having learning difficulties. But there's a positive of this. Having learning difficulty, the reasons why I became friends with your compare Tony Marisa. A round of applause for Tony, please. Two reasons why I became friends with Tony, because number one, he's one of the few people in the world who does not judge me at all. Right. And number two, and more importantly, he can drive a car and I need a lift home after the gig. I've been doing business. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Ladies and Don Biswalls, give another round of applause to Don Biswalls. Yeah. I came by train tonight. We're continuously being surveyed, don't we? Like all the most watched time in the history of mankind. Everywhere I look, there's a camera on me. There's more cameras on me tonight. There's a flash in the corner there. Clearly working for the CIA. Maybe not the CIA. Maybe just a local drug dealer looking for customers. He's pointing the camera at the right point. How you doing with that beard? What can you hide in that beard? What have you found in that beard?
Bilderberg.
You found other people in that beard squatting.
Yeah.
That's a good beard. That is a lovely beard. I love a lovely beard. But it's I'm going to tell you about the police actually, because I come from Hackney. I'm going to tell you about the old bill. They pulled me up only very recently. The police pulled me up, took me out of my car and started beating me with their truncheons. And then they took my weed.
No, that's cruel.
5 minutes later, they were back again. Started beating me with their truncheons again. I said, what do you want now? We need Rizzlers. You little shit. 20 minutes later, they were back again. I said, what do you want now? He's like, no, it's all right. Just wondered if you had any chocolate cake. Yes, people who understand that joke, because it's completely true. And that's why it's funny, isn't it? Because the police take your drugs and then they smoke them down the station. Or, as in America, they actually import them in the first place into all these slums and make them very, very accessible to the wrong people. So, under surveillance. I'm going to bring on the next act. Filming the inside of my nostrils there. Perfect. Are we ready for the next act, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Free-minded spirits. I'm going to bring on Mr. Jim Grant, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Grant.
Thank you, friends. It's a pleasure and an honour to be here. It's probably the audience that I've played to the most, but I've had the most people in the audience that I greatly admire the work of. You know, there's a few people, lots of you here, and it's nice to hopefully make a few friends here tonight. Thank you for all that you did with the protests over the weekend. You know, did the police give anyone a hard time or anything like that? Good as gold. Most police are good as gold, but we're all worried about the increasing power of the police state. Permits to protest outside Westminster, putting the missiles on rooftops against the Tenants Commission. It does worry us all that we're creeping towards a police state. In fact, only the other day I was driving along, I get stopped by the police for absolutely no reason at all. The policeman gets out of his car and he shouts at me, "Papers!" I shouted, "Scissors." I win and drove away. We're all outside the paradigm here. It's nice to talk among friends. We all know the three main parties are different heads of the same hydra. Labour, Lib Dem, the Tories, they all support preemptive wars, they all support the bank bailout, they all support austerity measures, they all support increasing tuition fees. I don't know why all three parties don't come together and form one big political party, and they can call themselves the Condom Party, because they allow for inflation, halt production, destroy the next generation, create barriers between people, cause friction, rely on the industry for lubricant, protects pricks and gives you a false sense of security. Well, actually, you're screwed. Even the little one was cheering then. You don't know me, I'm your local bank manager. I've just been to Las Vegas and man have I made a boo-boo. You now owe me £26,252. If he turned up at your door, wouldn't you tell him to fuck off? That's why everyone in this country needs to write to their bank and say, "Dear bank manager, you are overdrawn. You now owe me £26,252. And because I'm having to write a letter telling you this, I'm going to charge you an extra 25 quid. So I fucking like it. I've done a gig for Goldman Sachs. Hell yeah, I'll take their money. And I did my bailout joke as well. And they didn't like it. But I got cash up front. And I was going to drive back down to where I live on the south coast, and all the heckles that come my way, because I did my time, I called them what I knew that they were, and I didn't leave the stage, and the heckles were just for 20 minutes. It was just pure abuse, which I quite enjoyed. I took it as a badge of honour, but it gets the old adrenaline up, and I got into the car and I was going back down to where I live on the south coast, and I could actually feel the adrenaline sitting in my system. And I remember that golden rule, never drive angry. So I thought, right, before I start this journey, purely in the interest of road safety, I'm going to smoke some weed. So that little tiny one, about to pull away. Now most police, as we know, they're good people. It's the power structure that gives them the orders that aren't. But this was one of the smug ones, and of course he taps on the window. I have to wind down the window to speak to him, don't I? And this puff bellows out, he catches with a bit. He's like, "What's that I can smell there, sunshine?" I said, "It's cannabis." He said, "Oh yeah, tell me something I don't know." Right, officer, did you know, this is true, that if you take the letters off of your badge of the Metropolitan Police Force and rearrange them, you can spell I'm fellatio, erect porno cop. He didn't seem as impressed as I thought he would be. And with that, he fucked off. I went with him. And I was taken before the court. The judge says to Mr. Grant, "You've been charged with the possession of enough cannabis for 8 or 9 marijuana cigarettes." I said, "Remind me not to come to any of your parties, Your Honour." About 2 or 3 spliffs at the most. And we all know the reason it's illegal is to keep the prices up for the Bilderberg cartels, but the line they give the mainstream people is because it's part of the war on drugs, which came in the early 80s, and the mainstream line is marijuana makes people stupid, paranoid and lazy. So our government's official line is that it's been a 30-year war with stupid, paranoid, lazy people, and it still hasn't won yet. Rethink the strategy, guys. And I would advocate, if you're a drug dealer that's only selling marijuana, then technically you're not a drug dealer, you're more of a florist. Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Barclays, Federal Reserve, Bank of England. You have no idea how many times I've said that gag to stairs at mainstream, but I'll do it anyway, man. And this was I got thrown off stage at a club I won't mention for doing this. This isn't rehearsed. This isn't actually, well, it is a joke in my opinion, but it's not actually funny. This is the official theory of 9/11, and I'm just going to break it down for you right now. Okay, the official version. I got thrown off the stage before I finished this at a comedy club, so I think it's probably the only gig in my life that I'll ever have the opportunity to say this in my life. So. Stand-up comedy and sex are very similar. You have to have both parties enjoying it to be a success. So here we go. The official version of 9/11 goes something like this. Directed by a beardy guy from a cave in Afghanistan, 19 hard-drinking, coke-snorting, devout Muslims. I'm loving you already. Enjoy lap dances before their mission to meet Allah. Using nothing more than craft knives, they overpower cabin crew, passengers and pilots on 4 planes, and hangover or not, they managed to give the world's most sophisticated air defence system the slip, unfazed by leaving their How to Fly a Passenger Jet book in the car at the airport. They master the controls in time and score direct hits on 2 towers, somehow causing 3 to collapse completely. Our masterminds even managed to overpower the odd law of physics or 2, and the world watches in awe as steel frame buildings fall symmetrically through their own mass at free fall speed for the first time in history. Despite all their dastardly cunning, they stupidly give their identity away by using fireproof and explosion-proof passports, which survive the fireball undamaged and fall to the ground, only to be discovered by the incredible crime-fighting sleuths at the FBI. Meanwhile, down in Washington, Hani Hanjour, having previously flunked 2-man Cessna flying school, gets carried away with all the success of the day and suddenly finds incredible abilities behind the controls of a Boeing. Instead of flying straight into the large area of the Pentagon, he decides to show off a little. Executing an incredible 270-degree downward spiral, he levels off to hit the Loafer Cave of the world's most heavily defended building, all without a single shot being fired or ruining the nicely mowed lawn. And all at a speed just too fast for modern equipment to capture on camera, despite 85 pieces of footage being held against for national security reasons. Later, in the skies above Pennsylvania, so desperate to talk to loved ones before their imminent deaths, some passengers use sheer willpower to connect to mobile calls that otherwise would not be possible until several years later. And following a heroic attempt by some to take control of Flight 93, it crashes into Shanksville Field, leaving no trace of engines, fuelage or occupants, except of course for the standard issue Muslim terrorists bandana. Further south in Florida, President Bush, the brave commander-in-chief, reads "My pet goat" to a class of primary school children, shrugging off the obvious possibility that his life could be in imminent danger. In New York, World Trade Center leaseholder Larry Silverstein, I believe Luke knows him only too well, shrugs in his own disbelief his luck. Oh, sorry, I've missed that bit. I was bound to muck it up sooner or later. Like I said, this isn't usual stuff, as you can imagine. Larry Silverstein blesses his own foresight in ensuring the buildings against terrorist attacks only 6 weeks previously, while back in Washington, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Paul Wolfowitz shake their heads in disbelief at their own luck in getting the new Pearl Harbor catalysing event that so desired them to pursue their agenda of world domination. And finally, not to be disturbed too much by the reports of their own deaths, at least 7 of the 19 suicide hackers turn up alive and kicking in mainstream media reports. This all happens after Cheney and Bush create a plan in 1992, released in official government documents depicting these exact events are required to get through the Patriot Act-style legislation they soon brought in. The Transport Secretary then tells the 9/11 Commission the Vice President gave the order to NORAD to stand down and not to fire on any planes. And this testimony is cut from the official report, which 6 out of 10 of the authors more or less say is bullshit. And this is agreed by 1,500 pro-architects. And if anyone got a problem with this, you're a weirdo. standing up for what you believe in makes a difference, and that's what we've all done this weekend. And I'd like to tell you about a story of a 65-year-old pensioner named Derek Thomas, who was fined £25 by the DVLA for failing to register an off-road Suzuki bike. And Mr Thomas turns up at Norfolk Crown Court, where he demanded on insisting invoking an ancient Norfolk County bylaw that applied to two-wheeled vehicles. He insisted on not by being tried by jury, but trial by combat. He demanded a second court day appearance be arranged where he would fight the nominated champion of the DVLA. DVLA solicitors looked into this, realised this law actually still exists in Norfolk, and were horrified to discover it's a fight to the death. The fight would be legal only if both combatants were evenly armed either with bare knuckles or 6-foot blacksmith's hammers. So the court was adjourned, the second court day appearance was arranged, and Mr Thomas does indeed turn up with a 6-foot blacksmith's hammer. Want to know what the DVLA done? They withdrew their claim. People like that make this country great, and I'd like to finish on 4 notes. As I said, stand-up comedy and sex are very similar. I'm really proud I've lasted 15 minutes. Of feeling out their false flags or being a victim of their tyranny, or just some two people sitting in a drink having a pub together. It is therefore a mathematical inevitability that we will win. And thirdly, I've got a radio show called beyondthenews.co.uk, and fourthly, I'd like to dedicate this gig to my mother who passed away yesterday. So thank you ever so much indeed for supporting comedy, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Claim steak over that. Who wants to come and sit down?
I do, but it's been a while yet.
Been a while yet? Okay, that's all right. We can all be kind of relaxed, can't we? It's like a boat that's listing to the left, isn't it? And kind of the middle's vacated. How are we, camera?
Okay.
Yeah? Got enough SD cards?
Yeah, unfortunately we do.
Okay, who reads Nexus magazine?
A long time ago.
See, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised by you like that. Does anyone, hands up if you know Nexus magazine? 1, 2, only 3 people. You should all be reading that magazine. That is the best magazine, alternative health news and issues that is on this planet. Nexus magazine, it comes out of Australia, it's in about 10 different languages. It's been going a number of years. You should all subscribe to Nexus magazine. I've got shares. No, clearly I haven't. No, but it's a brilliant magazine. Honestly, it's got so much great information in there. You should all. I'll say it one more time. Nexus magazine. It's in German, French, Italian, even Icelandic, I think.
It's a drone. It's a great drone.
No, I'm having a lager drone attack. Hold on a minute. Satan. That's better. Welcome, followers. But the thing is, this is true. You know, if you're aware of the shit that goes into food, and the shit that we drink, and the shit we put in our bodies, and creams and sun creams and perfumes and stuff, and it's all entering our pores. It's not a conspiracy. It's a lot of fact. It's a lot of scientific fact. These poisons are in these products. We put them in our bodies, and we go, why don't we get cancer? Because we're eating a load of shit. I tell you what, let's go and run 400 miles. Get out of breath and raise money for awareness of cancer. Well, really all should we do is stop drinking Coca-Cola for starters, and probably stop eating Domino's pizza. Even though it does taste very nice, the pepperoni Domino's pizza, we know that the rest of the shit that we're putting in our bodies is really bad for us. So, and I think you should read Nexus magazine, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. How are we doing with the camera? Wicked. Anyone else want to share some valuable information? Or do you want to hear a story about the Catholic Church smuggling cocaine?
I'll share some information if you like.
Yeah, please. Tell us your information.
Do you want me to take the mic then? It's on
Well, you can do. Do you want to take the microphone? I'll give it to you here. Well, we're going to bring on another act for some laughter and mirth. Are we up for that? Yeah! Come on, so put your hands in the air. Wave them for some. Give me a little bit of energy, a bit of love. Slower, madam, a bit slower. We're going to contact the Nordic aliens, because we're all waiting for them to come.
I'll give you my contact.
To save us. Forget the little greys with the big heads and the almond eyes. We want the Nordics, don't we? Because they're much better looking than what? Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring on Mel Crosby. Where are you, Mel? He's just there, ladies and gentlemen. Please pay attention, start clapping.
London, we can meet.
Please pay attention and start clapping. Show some love and affection, ladies and gentlemen, to Mel Crosby.
Hello, you're right. Yes, my name is Mel Crosby. Mel is short for Melvin. It's not a very sexy name, is it, Melvin? What was strange is I was named Melvin after my dad, which is weird because me and my dad, we fell out over me getting a tattoo when I was 16. I didn't want one, but he thought they looked cool, you know. And even with a name like Melvin, I managed to get married and even have a couple of little kids. And me and my wife, we've gone through a bit of a rough patch. The trust and the respect has gone since I caught my wife in our marital bed, watching The Only Way is Essex. It's worrying because I've had 2 kids with that woman. There's a good chance they're going to be morons too. I do love my wife though, so I tried to be supportive of her. I sat down and I watched an episode of The Only Way is Essex. Afterwards, I felt more despondent about the fate of the human race than I did after the CIA demolished the Twin Towers. You know, as part of a false flag operation to pillage oil and create a war for profit, all the time taking away our civil liberties. I wouldn't watch another episode of The Only Way is Essex, if I'm honest with you. I'd rather chop off my own arm. Like that guy from that film, 100. Sorry, mate, was I interrupting your conversation?
I'm ever so sorry.
That's quite alright, fella. But yeah, no, I wouldn't watch another episode of The Only Way is Essex. I'd rather chop off my own arm. Like that guy from that film, 127 Hours. Seen that film? True life story about a guy called Aaron Ralston. Aaron was all alone in the outback of Utah when he got his arm trapped underneath a huge boulder. With no sign of rescue, Aaron did the only thing he could. He chopped off his own arm. Amazing. Heroic, it says on the front of the DVD. I'm just pretty sure that movie would never have been made if that boulder had fallen on his cock. His sun-bleached skeleton would still be out there now, holding the penknife blunt from trying to saw that fucking boulder in half. Strange, yeah, I mean, who gets their arm trapped underneath a boulder apart from Wile E. Coyote? Makes no fucking sense, I swear, does it? But yeah, the thing is why I don't like The Only Way is Essex, because that programme's been copied now, right? We copied it from an American programme called Jersey Shore, and it's now been copied by, we have programmes like Made in Chelsea and Desperate Housewives. And I wonder where it's all going to end, and you're right. It'll probably end in the dumbing down of an unquestioning bovine population ready to be bent over and fucked by totalitarian overlords. But until then, we've got The Only Way is Windsor. Have you seen The Only Way is Windsor? Brilliant. It's a reality programme about a family of overprivileged inbred Germans. No offence to the Germans, but I found out some stuff about the royal family which I didn't know. Like, for instance, their royal surname, Windsor, that's not always been their surname. They only changed it to Windsor during the First World War, as they thought that peasants in their hundreds of thousands might object to dying in trenches for the wealth and power of a family with a Germanic-sounding surname. And even more interestingly, the name Windsor, that's actually correctly pronounced parasite. I've been thinking about it though, and I probably would watch another episode of The Only Way is Essex, but you'd have to pay me. But then there's a lot of stuff I'd do for money. I reckon for the right money, I could be persuaded to blow Louis Walsh live on the X Factor stage. I reckon I'll do that for about 100 grand. Next time I get the money up front, no, I'm not falling for that again. Fool me once, shame on. The point is, once you get fooled, you can't get fooled again, is basically the point of that. But we all do stuff for money. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. Even the insanely wealthy in this world, like your Rockefellers and your Rothschilds, I reckon for the right money they could be persuaded to murder 3,000 people to give them an excuse to invade Afghanistan, Iraq and Iran. I know technically we've not invaded Iran, but I don't like changing my set too often, and next month that probably makes sense anyway. So, of course, the poorer you are, the cheaper the price. Recently, a young lad in China sold one of his kidneys so he could buy himself an iPhone. Which sounds bad, but iPhones are a pretty sexy product. I've got one, and the fact they have to put up a suicide net around the Chinese iPhone factory in Beijing just makes the product sexier for me. I've got to the point now where I refuse to buy anything unless the blood of a malnourished child has been spilt at some point along the production process. Which explains this Matalan t-shirt. You know that's ironic, right? I don't really believe that shit. I mean, you're all looking at me with daggers now. Just drawing attention to the issues, kind of the idea with that. But no, people like mobile phones. Mobile phones have been a good form of technology. Some technology people aren't so keen on. Like genetic engineering, people won't worry about that because they think that if genetic engineering persists, we'll get to a point where we're ultimately designing our babies. You know, with genetic engineering, we're altering the genetic code of our unborn children, which does sound terrible. But then again, I've seen the Jeremy Kyle show. Maybe a better looking, more intelligent human race wouldn't be such a bad thing, is kind of my point with that. But on your phones now, you can get Facebook on your phone, which is brilliant. And not a lot of people know this, but Facebook was initially funded by the CIA, 500 million quid they gave it as a start-up, as it's a good way to monitor the population. They now admit this. Intelligence agencies like the CIA, MI5 and Mossad, they admit that they use Facebook to combat the war on terror. And we can all help combat the war on terror by joining Facebook, and all we have to do is update our thoughts, our feelings, our location, whoever we're with at that location, in a permanent chronological timeline. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But yeah, Facebook, it's a weird, fucked up kind of situation with Facebook. Or you can go on Twitter. Twitter's good, you know. You can follow people like Amy Childs or Rio Ferdinand and see what they're thinking, and just think the same thing basically, which is a bit fucked up. But technology has changed our lives in many, many ways. I've got two little lads, 8 and 4 years old they are, and my 4-year-old, we sat down recently and we watched Jurassic Park. That movie's almost 20 years old, that movie, and my little lad, the 4-year-old, he looked up at me, he went, "Daddy, the dinosaurs in that movie, are they real?" And I went, "No son, dinosaurs were real once, but the ones you saw in that movie, they're just fake and made to look real." And he didn't seem to get it. I needed an example of something that's fake and looks real. My first thought was obviously their mother's 34 double D tits. But I quickly decided against that, and I waited till I tucked him in bed that evening. I tucked him in bed and I went, "Look, little man, you know you were worried about them dinosaurs in that movie. Well, don't you worry, because dinosaurs in that movie that are fake and just made to look real, that's very much like the revolution in Libya." Basically what happened there was what started out as being quite real, well that was kind of monopolised by intelligence agencies, then the constant coverage of small protests by corporate news media, that led to larger protests and eventually the installation of a puppet regime that would continue to sell its oil on a fiat-based currency controlled by the Federal Reserve. And he didn't seem to get it, if I'm honest with you. I know this, because I was just about to leave the room, and he went, "Daddy, what about dragons? Are dragons real?" Now I've got to think of a way to explain to a 4-year-old about dragons. I went, "Son, don't you worry about dragons. Dragons are just a made-up monster designed to frighten people who watch way too much television. Dragons are like Al-Qaeda." And that's almost my time. I was going to kind of tell you, as someone's very interested in politics, I don't vote, for 2 reasons really, because I kind of believe, the parties that we're given the opportunity to vote for, it's all the same shit, and you end up just supporting the plutocratic oligarchy, which is what we actually live under. That's one reason for why I don't vote. And the second reason is I keep off the electoral register because my creditors can find me that way. So, my name's Matt Crosby. Cheers. Good night.
Yes, legend, that's Mel Crosby. Give him another round of applause. He's right there. So we're going to go back to our lives tomorrow. Is everyone happy with what's happened over this weekend? Yes! Yeah. Are we thoroughly satisfied to the very core of our being? No. There's a call there coming in from CIA headquarters. Are we all satisfied to the core of our being? What are we going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do tomorrow morning, sir? No, I'm talking to him.
I'm going to do tomorrow. Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. That's great, but very broad. A bit more specific. What are you going to do? You're going to have breakfast first?
Yeah, breakfast.
What will that consist of?
Enjoying life. I have to see tomorrow.
See, this is my point. Nobody knows what's happening. Not even at breakfast time. And on that note, I'm going to bring in the next comedian because I think you can have one more comedian, and then you're going to have a great after party over there with the numerologist. That we're going to have a fantastic time in that small marquee and learn all about the number 9. Are we up for that as well? Woo! Okay, perfect. I'm going to bring on Mr. Dell Strain. Dell, are you with us? He's just there, ladies and gentlemen. Wait there, Dell. I'm going to bring on a tsunami. Give me a tsunami of love. I'm not talking a meat product from Italy. A bit louder. Mr. Dell Strain.
Ladies and gentlemen, one time for your compere, Tony Maurice.
Cool. It's difficult to listen, isn't it? It's difficult to listen. It's difficult for normal people to listen to us on a daily basis, when you're trying to preach to people that just don't want to listen to anything at all. But keep up the fight. Convert one person per annum, at least. You know what I mean? Just wake up someone. But I'm going to hand over to Hannah now. My name's Tony Mosey, and I'll see you another time. But Hannah, I'll give the mic to you. Good night, everyone. Thanks very much.
Hello, everyone. I was going to ask you who I am because I'm not sure anymore. The reason for this is some really strange things have been happening to me recently. First of all, I'll tell you a bit about myself. I live in a shed, a solar-powered shed with a well. So my water is has no fluoride in it. I don't watch TV. I stopped watching TV about 3 years ago. Now, coincidentally, when I stopped watching television, I started noticing other things. One of these things is a number, which doesn't make me a numerologist, but this number that kept popping up in my life took me to certain places and certain levels of research. So, last year I had an extremely difficult time. My mother died, I lost a baby, and I ended up in a situation where I literally felt, as a person, completely lost. So while I was trying to find myself, trying to ground myself, I knew really who I was, but I really needed something to give me the information that what I thought was true. So I reached out to the universe, and guess what? Ever since then, I've been flooded with information. It's like I've become a receiver, and now I have to broadcast it. I can't help it, I have to. So what did I learn? 2 main things. Basically, we all know the universe runs on opposing forces. North, south, positive, negative, light and dark. So in a nutshell, we are energy, or simply put, light. If you think about a tiny light bulb, it can light up a dark room, a tiny little light bulb. You can't reverse that. You can't have a dark bulb, okay? So the important thing is the light and the energy that creates. And what we get now is a situation where somebody has got the power to destroy. But the important thing to remember is that this light that creates can easily be let out. And all we need to do is remember that, and remember that it only takes a few of us and the whole room will be lit up. Can I just end on a banking quote? Yes, of course. All right, because what I'm going to be doing, I've got a mailing list here. This has all led me to a lot of research, and basically it all leads back to the same thing. These guys here. What I've decided to do is an open source alternative history on the internet, and I'm compiling facts for the general public to break into their reality about what's actually going on in this world. I know I'm a spiritual being, I know I'm connected. Yeah. They're not sure, let's break into their reality. So I'm going to end on a quote from Rothschild, and I'm going to tell you what I did about him. In 1863, the few who understand the system will either be so interested in its profits or be so dependent upon its favours that there will be no opposition from that class. While on the other hand, the great body of people, mentally incapable of comprehending the tremendous advantage that capital derives from the system, will bear its burdens without complaint, and perhaps without even suspecting that the system is inimical to their interests. That was the Rothschild brothers of London writing to their associates in New York. Well, when Northern Rock rang me to tell me I owed them 26k, do you know what I said? Have you ever heard of the credit crunch? Now fuck off. I haven't paid them. They don't know where I am, and I don't care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to Jim Grant, who put together such a stellar comedy showcase for us. And to all the amazing comics who donated their time and came up to entertain us and to support the Bilderberg Fringe. And thank you so much. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Round of applause for Hannah and all the people that put the staff together. Big round of applause for all the acts seen this evening. Up first, you saw Compound, Tony Marise. You had Don Biswas. You had me. You had Mel Crosby. And you had Del Strain. Thank you ever so much for all your hard work. Have a great weekend. Viva la Revolution. Cheers. Thank you.
And it's last orders, I believe, at 10:30 here. So I would get them 5 minutes.
Prisoners not permitted to drink past 10:30 in the UK.
Could you make your way back to your neighbouring villages?
Yes. Lovely.